Hey, Joel the Tender here, and in this video I'm going to share with you how to install vinyl plank and laminate up against angled walls, angled cabinets, angled fireplaces, whatever you would run into in your installation that would come to an angle. I'll share with you tips that I use out on the job every day to be able to help you with your project. So here, let's watch. Okay, so before I know I'm not going to get this piece in without planing and gluing. I'm going to have to plane and glue this joint and all the way down past here to get this one full piece in. Okay, so we went outside and I cut this. You can see I'm able to slide it into place here. I have the tongue already cut, ready to plane and glue it. And I just want you to see that this kind of goes underneath the sheetrock a little bit here. What you can do is you can take your jam saw. When you get into difficult areas like this, if you cut away that sheetrock, your plate will slide under it. That gives you another ½ inch of play there to be able to do these things. And so, like if this wasn't already up the way it is, I could just take this and put it down there, and then I could just take my jam saw and cut right into that sheetrock and get that piece out. It makes your life a lot easier doing things like that when you have angles like this to work with. And now I want to show you how I was able to mark and cut this plank and get it to fit into place perfectly. So what I did is I lined up the butt joint on the plank and I placed this plank on top of the row that we already installed, lined it up with the row we're installing. And you can see how I laid it on top of the other plank, and I made sure the edges were even with each other. Now once I had that in place, I made a mark right at the center of the corner. Now I'm going to measure the face, the top of this plank, not including the tongues, and you can see I come up with 6 1/4. I slide my tape forward, and then I'm going to mark at 6 1/4. So now I'm going to transfer the mark that I made for the center of the corner up to that 6 1/4 mark and draw another line. That is where I'm going to make my angle. I'm going to start my angle at those lines and work away. Now I'm using a speed square here, so I have a perfectly 45-degree angle. And how I found that out is I took the speed square, I put it up against the plank and slid it up against the wall. And you can see I have a perfectly 45-degree angle, and I did the same thing on the other side here. Now not every angle is going to be 45 degrees, but I wanted to show you, if you have a 45-degree angle, how easy this can be. Now later on in this video, I am going to show you how you're going to be able to find other angles. And so, well, let's just watch. Okay, so a lot of angles that you're going to come up to are going to be 45 degrees. Well, that's what a speed square is. It's at 45 degrees. You got your plank running up to here. This is at a 90 degree. So if you stick your speed square to go check your angle, you can see. And they have angle finding tools that you can if you have a different kind of an angle. But this is a nice 45 for me. If it wasn't, what I could do is take a piece of cardboard and just start out at a 45. Just mark it real quick. I'll just cut this. Now I'm going to cut it at an oddball angle here so that you can kind of see, because I want you to kind of understand what I'm trying to do here. So I could come up with a piece of cardboard, and you see how it's touching there and it's not there. So now I could slide that cardboard forward, take my marker, run it along the wall. That would find my angle then. Again, the sheetrock's up there, so that really helps. So when you get into spots that you could use that extra ½ inch, just cut that sheetrock away. Now you can see if I slide this here, it's pretty close. So I could use this as a guide if it wasn't a 45. Another thing that I do, like starting right here, I want this piece to go right there. And a quick way to find this first angle, just take a scrap piece of laminate and just slide this back so that when I do this, it covers. Just cut that off right there. And now that piece will fit into there. That'll be my starting piece. Okay, so now the next one that we're going to try to figure out is, how do I measure this right here? Now you could stick a whole piece of cardboard in there as a template, but you don't really need to do that. And again, if you cut away your sheetrock, it gives you more play. which I suggest that you do, because it will, if you cut something a little short, you won't, or a little long, you won't have to recut. It gives you a little bit more play. Because I'm going to take the end of my blade and I'm going to stick it right on the edge here. Right along there. I don't want it to be on the tongue, I want it to be on the finished edge, right against the sheetrock. So I get an accurate measurement. Now I'm going to stay on the finished edge the whole way. And you can see, what do I need there? Code 37 1/8?
Yep.
Okay, so about 37 1/8. And so that's what I'm going to mark on my plank. Now again, I'll measure the finished edge, 37 1/8. So I just measured right off the finished edge there. Now, I come back over here, and if my angle isn't perfect, to find my angle, once again, I'll use this piece of cardboard. I'll bring it right up to the wall, and you can see how it's a little short. Now I can slide it under my wall a little bit and probably still mark this, but if I needed to, I could mark it a couple of times until I get it right. I could just mark it right here. Cut this little chunk off first. Now I'm getting closer. Again, slide it under the sheetrock here to really get a nice accurate measurement. So now I'll cut that off. Now I'll take this as my template where I measured to the 37 1/8. I put this edge right here on the edge of the laminate, right, not the tongue, but the edge of the front of it, because the tongue's going to be not part of this, and just draw my line. I'll cut this off, and that piece will fit right in there. Okay, so I went and cut this piece now, so now what I'm going to do is make sure it goes in there first. Kind of see it's tight on both sides, but it can be because my sheetrock is up. So now I got it in place. The only problem is if it's too tight, then if you can't lift it, then it's going to be a problem. So you want to be sure that you do give yourself room so that you can lift it. But if it was tight and I couldn't lift it, I could just do this now. I could just come back, make a mark, another mark with my marker, and go cut some more off of this. And then I'd be able to lift it. So there's just some techniques or some tips that you can use when you're dealing with angles. Okay, so when you get a piece like this where you're going to have to put it in one and you have the angle on both sides, it's still just going to be the same way. If you're going to measure, you can see I got it tight over here and over there. If I went 20 1/8, then I'd do my angle on both sides and I would mark it at 20 1/8, but I'd probably bring it down a little bit to 20 so that I can lift it up like we were just talking about. Okay, so I marked that at the 20 and I used my speed square because I have that perfect angle, so I just used that real quick, or I'd use my cardboard pieces that I made, whichever one that you're going to decide. Now I can just make this real simple and put this scrap board here to get that final last piece in there. And just draw a line that continues on. Match it up over here. Same thing. Now I have that piece and my last piece that I'll just go cut on the saw. I'll leave them together while I'm cutting it because that's a tough piece to try to cut, so it doesn't make it dangerous. So we'll just whack this right off while it's together. Okay, I want to show you another little thing here that you can do to get into tight areas like this. Something to simplify it a little bit. I just used one big piece of cardboard here and made a big pattern. And now I'm going to make sure that it lines up with my plank. You can see how it does. So now I'll put this on the edge of my plank when I'm going to cut it out. but I got it underneath the jamb. I got it underneath the wall again. I made my sheetrock was up enough where I could get it under. Now what I'm gonna do is just run my marker along the wall. So this is gonna give me a perfect line with the wall. I'm just gonna outline the jambs too, just to be sure that I put enough plank in there. So I'll continue past that line, but I want to see where the jamb falls. Now right here is a situation where I'm putting a transition, and I know that I need to leave a gap of 1 1/8 inches. So I'm just going to measure out 1 1/8 inches from the carpet. And then I'll take a straight edge and draw a line there. And now this will be my template. So you can see how much my cardboard ran it past the jamb. So I'll take a little bit more off there, and then I'll probably add a little bit right here because it's almost short to where the jamb ended. Okay, so this is the sheetrock line right here. Like I said, I was going to cut that off. So just use a plank or whatever you got for a straight edge. And I'm going to cut that line right off. And now, this will be my edge of the sheetrock. This will be the edge of my finished edge of my plank. And then I'm also going to cut off that inch gap, 1 1/8 inch gap that I told you I had to leave. So now I have a perfect template of that area that I showed you. Minus I have to do a little work on the door jamb here. So I'll actually cut a little bit of this off just to make it a little prettier. And then I'll add a little bit right here where that cardboard is missing. So then I know it will all fall in there nicely. Okay, so I'll bring this back over here and make sure I got the right fit. Just to double check. And it all looks really good. And now I just want to mark on this cardboard where I have a joint just in case so I don't line up with another joint right next to it for sure. You could do the same thing here, and I have a joint here too, so I just want to make sure I stay away from those two spots. So now when I'm putting my laminate together, I also want to make sure that I got the tongues going the right direction. And then I put together a little piece here. So now I'll line my pattern up so it's exactly how it's supposed to be. So this edge right here was supposed to be right on the finished edge. Not the tongue, but the finished edge. I could tape this down to hold it in place, but I'm just going to draw it and hold it with my knee. And then I'll probably just cut the line off on all of this so that I don't add more to it, since I had it all in there perfectly. So you can see there's your perfect pattern. So now I could take this out, cut this on the jigsaw just all together like this even, and then take it apart. Okay, so I brought this all in one chunk. I'm just going to leave it together and cut it that way. You can do this like this, or you can just take one piece out at a time. And these little pieces are actually nice to have another piece attached to it so that you're not trying to hold a small piece. So here you go. Now that's going to fit in there. Now I will take it apart and put it together, but it should go all in there nice and easy now. I might need to plane and glue a couple of these, like this one, just to get it in there, or even keep this little piece together and then plane and glue this one. But either way, that's what you need to do in door jambs, and you've seen that in other videos. Okay, so here I have another area in the house that has a closet that was pretty, well, it was a pretty tight one. Would have been difficult to do without using a template. You can see I made another template for you, or for this closet, really simplified it, and I was able to get it done pretty easily. Now, I use templates a lot in a lot of different tight little areas like that, and you can too. I sure hope that the tips that I shared with you in this video will help you with your installation. I'm pretty positive that they will. If you have any questions, just go ahead and check out my Facebook page. You can ask there, you can ask below here. I also have links in the description that'll bring you to my website, tools and supplies page that that will share with you the tools and supplies that I use. I do want to say that if you do use any of those links, they are affiliate links, and thank you for using them if you decide to, but I wanted to let you know that that's what they are. Also, if you could hit the like button for me on this video, I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe. I'm Joe Latender, and I really do sincerely hope that God blesses you and your family. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.